It's nice to have you here, and I'm looking forward to ask a few questions. I would like to give you the opportunity to introduce yourself and what you guys are doing, and then I have a few questions I would like to ask you directly.
Absolutely, yeah. Thank you for having me. I'm Harpal. I'm the co-founder CEO of Sarcomere Dynamics. We're a robotics company out of Canada. We have headquarters in Alberta and our lab and some manufacturing in British Columbia. Our, uh, our goal is to make near human capable robotic hands.
There is a lot of things happening in the hand space.
Yeah.
I just had a talk earlier today with Shadow, and but a few of the questions are a bit different. So one of the questions is I mean, this comes back to the roots. Why focusing on hands in the first place?
Right. We get that a lot, believe it or not, either from our mentors in the startup space or from customers. And the rationale from our perspective is pretty straightforward. Everything around us is designed for this, the human hand. So based on the form factor, the size, and it's meant to be used by humans with what we got or were born with. So we figured that's a great place to start. We imitate or mimic the capabilities of the human hand, great starting point. And then if there's a particular use case, we could adjust it afterwards. Right now, we want to just perfect that technology.
And here is the next question that comes directly to this is the challenges designing that one that is capable of doing these things that our hands are capable of.
Yeah.
What are the challenges that you guys are facing?
Right. If you look at some of the hands that are out there already, you always find a trade-off. The engineers or who are making it got trade-off on it. It could be capable as far as speed and strength goes, but then it's heavy or cost way more than practical for general purpose applications. On the other hand, if you make it lighter, it loses the strength. So like I said, it's always a trade-off between strength, speed, cost. Of course, form factor as well. I mean, you can make it economical, but then you got these huge fingers and odd shapes, the kind of sausage fingers on it. That's not really practical for, like I said, mimicking the human hand. On the other hand, you can make it look like the human hand. However, you miss out on the functionality. And that is the balancing act or the trick, if you will, kind of not sacrifice capability, not sacrifice on the weight, and most importantly, don't sacrifice on the cost. So you want to bring all these things together. Now you got a lot of issues you got to address. One way the approach we're taking to solve it is we just started from ground up. We started from scratch. Instead of just buying components off the shelf, we started redesigning the actuators for that purpose for the human hand. And with a certain speed, strength, and the capabilities in mind, and we built the hand around that. So our core technology, if you really want to drill down, is actuators, and we built the hand around that. And now we have 3 products on the market. Last year in May, we bought the Artist Light, which is the 20 degrees of freedom hand, and that is capable of pretty much 90% of what human hands can do. And this year, as you hear at the show, we got 2 new models. One is a 10 degrees of freedom hand, we call the Talos hand, and the other is the Artist Dex, which is 24 degrees of freedom, and includes an articulated wrist. And the real, I guess, remember I talked about the balancing between strength and speed? We sacrifice none. This hand is able to outperform the human hand for its strength, speed, and with tactile sensors. And one of my biggest objective was for the team to bring the price down. So now we could bring the price down under $25,000 for all the hands.
What about the durability? So how long do these hands last? Because our hands last pretty long. So
Yeah.
if you're facing that one in a manufacturing side or whatever use case you are aiming at the moment, how's that?
Yeah, so remember I said we started building from the ground up. It was not just for economy, but it was also for functionality. Functionality beyond just dexterity and mimicking the human hand movements, but real work. We are focused on bringing these hands to market where a single arm or a bimanual system could be deployed at a workstation to do real work, whether it's bin picking, pick and sorting, or even complex parts assembly, which some of the customers are doing right now. Answer your question about durability, the way we addressed it was, again, core actuator technology. We're using brushless motors that that gives us pretty much a very long life on it. We're looking at easily 4 years, 5 years before the motor anywhere near getting stressed out.
If you're following, if you're in that bubble and you see the videos popping out almost on a weekly basis,
Yeah.
you see nice demos, right? And you see big names and smaller names, but a few players are aiming for solving this problem on their own, right? So the entire stack, hardware stack, so to speak, also hands, right?
Yeah.
So how do you see competitors that are not a customer, but also a competitor, like building humanoids with hands?
Yeah. So what we saw was as we were developing our technology, first there was a demand in the industry for this, and automation, and general purpose automation, industrial applications. So that's the good news, right? And what these customers, or the early customers we got, what they were doing, they were buying devices meant to be for prosthetic applications, and they're repurposing for industrial applications. But given they were meant to be prosthetic devices, they got limited dexterity. Many cases 5, maybe 6 degrees of freedom. Another way to put it is just a simple claw that opens and closes. That's great for picking and moving things around. But once you get into more complex applications where you want to grab 2 different items, maybe screw something on or take something out or use a tool, now you need that, like I said, not only the open close, but the individual open close because the shapes we're dealing with. As for competition, I think it's a good thing. Maybe one of our competitors solve a problem that we can't, or vice versa, and then we kind of bring it together and hopefully do something better overall. And competition actually drives us. It actually makes us, I'm talking about us, the greater tech community, better, right? If there's nobody there, how do you know whether you're good enough? So the competition actually allows us to measure against others. You mentioned Shadow. Rich and I became friends over the last several years. We've been talking back and forth on various things, and in a way, we were kind of looking up to them and say, "Hey, I see what goal you already set, what the achievements you guys already accomplished. Now we know it can be done, so we're going to shoot for that." So it's a good thing. It's not necessarily a bad thing. As for the greater stack that you mentioned, whether it's the humanoids or just automation systems. That I think is something that is going to be driven by, of course, applications and the industry itself. But ultimately, I see a lot of these technologies converging to whatever the ideal solution is going to be. Maybe it's not ultimately 5 fingers. I don't know. But 5, 6 years from now, with all the technologies coming in, the sensors, software, machine vision cameras, of course, the manufacturing for hardware, we see them converging to a point where it's going to be that ideal solution we're all seeking.
There would have been another question of mine. So if you would consider yourself, because there's a difference between just like putting a hand out there and then someone else is controlling that, or if you're offering turnkey solutions, so to speak.
Yeah. So when we first started, we got the first handout to early customers. The concern was, hey, great hardware, a lot of moving parts, running it off, right? But difficult to program, difficult to control. That was kind of a bit of a signal for us to not just put hardware out there. We're not just a hardware company anymore. 2 years later, we are offering the full stack capability. We have our own in-house AI team that's developing autonomous grasping, so that again, we want to cut down on the labor or the work required for system integrators or the end user. And one way to do that is give them a complete package. Okay, even though we're focusing just on the hand and the arm, with partner companies, we could embed sensors in it. We could incorporate cobots, or robotic arms that are compatible with the hand, and then we add the software package to it, so the end user or the customer could just take it out of the box and focus on programming it versus assembling and integrating and troubleshooting it.
It seems like not a normal path, but a lot of startups coming out of academia, deeply rooted, the founders spend a lot of time in academia, and then you go out and trying to sell a product, like applying the technology to a product and then finding a customer, or looking out for the problem and then building solutions toward that.
Yeah.
And then you see very easily it's not always, but very often about the deployment, especially when we're talking about hardware. You were mentioning the system integrators. So here it seems like startups going through that journey and realizing the product can be as good as it can, right? But someone needs to buy it, someone needs to implement, deploy it, someone needs to maintain and operate it, right? And you going here the way of putting more in your bag, solving more problems, but in the very end making easier for your solution to be bought and to be onboarded and being used. Was that something that was because you do have more experience than a 22-year-old coming from university or 25 who just finished, or maybe 28 finished a PhD, having the technology expertise but not the business expertise. Do you think this is an advantage of you guys?
I wouldn't say advantage inherently based on my age and my past life experience, but we are mindful of our surroundings and on the top of the industry and the tech space, in the sense that as we develop the tech, we realize that we cannot leave this problem and put it on the customer. So we took that on ourselves. Two reasons. One, we want to make sure whatever problem we're handing out to the customer is solvable. So we took it, because we're so close to it, we could fix it faster. That's one. And the second is, I was in the Army for 32 years, Canadian Army. And one thing I learned from various mentor advisors throughout my career was, don't give me a problem, me being the customer or whoever you're dealing with, don't give them a problem to solve. Give them some option to solve that problem. And that's what we've been doing. So not only building the technology to do the job that our customers need based on our market research, but we'll also give them service solutions. So for you, for example, you want to buy one of our hands, you get the basic hand, but that's only if you got the in-house knowledge to solve the other problems with integration, programming, and sensors and all the other stuff. But if you don't have it, then our second option is we could do all the integration for you. If you don't have a preferred sensor or cobot in mind, we could find you one from a partner company, and so forth. So basically, you're not just getting just a hunk of hardware, say, here you go, good luck. No, we actually come with a whole bunch of solutions for you, saying how far you want us to help you with this. So it's become a collaborative effort to help my customers solve the problem.
But do you think this is hard for you guys to not getting distracted by and focusing on the main problem that you would like to solve? So because now you're taking on more problems and a lot of variables that you cannot control, or it's another resource you need to another knowledge that you need to build upon.
Yeah, that's a very good point. We are a small team. We have to be careful not to be pulled in every direction.
Yeah.
And by no stretch of the imagination am I suggesting that we could solve all the problems. However, we need to know what the problems are. And if they're recurring, we need to kind of help out with it.
At least have options.
And we can. And the reason, remember, it's in our best interest to solve this problem, because if one customer has it, two customers have it, then I know it's something that we could need to fix centrally before we have 15 customers trying to solve the same problem. At the broader level, it's not very efficient if 15 different people are trying to solve the same thing.
Yeah.
But if we could pull it back into the center, we could do that. And it's not something that we're taking on solo by any stretch of the imagination. We're working with the customers, and most of them already have solutions. Most of them tried solutions, or most of them are looking for hints or some support on it. And sometimes the solution is for us to tweak the hardware or the firmware or even our AI modules. Other cases, it's something we just have to work with the customer to find a third-party solution provider so that we could do our part for integration and adjust the design as needed, and the customer get the proper solution they want. So there is some danger of getting pulled in every direction. We're mindful of it, and that's something that we have to be disciplined about. And I think we're doing a good job so far. A small team of 13, but we'll see. We'll see. If you find me burnt out on the side of the road somewhere, maybe we're trying to do too much.
This brings me to towards the end of our interview, and you were just mentioning that what you're focusing on and what problems you're trying to solve. What's next for you guys, especially as you're still emerging and you're still growing, but mindfully.
Yeah, our goal was and still is to perfect the hand. there's a school of thought, why do we need to match the human hand right down to the level of precision and dexterity and speed? It's just something that we believe allow embodied AI to really shine and come out of the shadows, if you will. That's one. Our main effort is going to continue with that. And aligned with it, as we talk about solving problems for end users, is the software AI development. So we want to bring the whole stack up. So ultimately, it's sort of like I was talking to somebody else earlier today. Right now, this technology space is like the early days of the personal computer, where you could buy little odds and sods and put it all together. You're good at it, you do a good job. You're not so good at it, you're monkeying around with it and try to debug it. Then fast forward a few years, then you got the PC you can pull out of the box, and even a novice could just turn it on and get to work with it instead of tinkering around for weeks and months, whatever, to get it up and running. So that's where we are. We're in the early stages of the PC development, if you want to talk metaphorically. And what we like to do is be at the stage where people just open the box up, get our hand with the cobot, with the software set, out of the box, up and running. All you need to do as a user is talk to it, or through a mechanical movements, tell it what to do, and the robot's up and running.
It is interesting to say, because you have not been part of the other interviews, but it's interesting to see and to observe that more and more founders really understanding that the ease of use is something that cannot be overrated, and especially as we are with our mobile phones and apps so used to intuitive workflows, intuitive applications, and here understanding that this is a burden that needs to be taken upon from the company and not the user.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, if my customers are primarily system integrators with experts in robotics and programming, then the problem's solved because they know what they're doing. Actually, they probably know better than what we're doing. But if you want these cobots or the automation solutions going to SMEs, small factories, and mom and pop shops, agriculture, they're not going to have the in-house roboticists or the programmers or the debuggers. They want to be able to just, like a PC, turn it on, get function out of it, not worry about what goes on behind it. That's where we come in. We want to kind of help shape this to the point where people are no longer afraid of complex systems. They get a system that they could either talk to or control through motions or gloves or whatever the case might be, depending on the use case. But they don't need to fear it anymore. That's, of course, tie it to a lower price point. Now we're making it easy for people to try it. And once they start trying it, they're going to come up with all sorts of ways of using the technology that's out there. Remember, this is not just about humanoid robots. I know we're at the Humanoid Summit, but the automation tech we're talking about is not just about making a humanoid robot. It's about adding capability or augmenting human capability in manufacturing, industry, farming, and anything else out there where labor is becoming a real shortage.
I'm keen to see when we will reach this point of the level of human dexterity. And I think you made quite clear why this is so important for you guys, and why it's important for the product to be not only capable of that, but also for the customer. Not only solving the problem, but also the operational work, the maintenance work, the onboarding work, all those things. So it's nice to see that you, as you said, being very mindful about the product development.
Oh, that's great. No, we're quite excited about what's going on in this space, and every day is something new. And we're just like you, looking forward to seeing what the future brings. And the future is not years away; it's weeks and months away. Things are happening so fast.
Bam, bam, bam. I'm very happy that you said yes for the interview, and looking forward what comes out of this Humanoid Summit. And I'm keen to see how fast the adoption will come, and what kind of solutions not only you but in the industry will be, as you said, will be possible in the near future.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure. We'll look forward to see you within the next 6 to 12 months to see where we are in robotics.
I'm looking forward to it. Take care.
Excellent. Thank you very much.